Hey gals and guys, it's your host Phil Larson, and this is your Motivational High Five on vulnerability. Let's do this. Can you believe it? Episode 29. Next week we will have a special guest, so stick around for that. Do you like the show so far? I would love to hear from you. Email me at phil@thestoryshop.tv. Or if you find yourself kind of busy at the time, you don't have any time, then that's fine. Just send a blank email to phil@thestoryshop.tv, and I can send you some details on the podcast. And if you want to donate, that would be incredible. Go to thestoryshop.tv/podcast and click on my blue hand, and then look for that blue donation button. Thank you. Do you have people that you can be vulnerable with? In some of the circles I'm actively involved in, some religious circles and some spiritual programs, vulnerability can become and has become this buzzword, this overused word. And so in a way, it loses its meaning. So in order to remind us, here's a definition I really like about vulnerability. Vulnerability is the state of being open to injury or appearing as if you are. It might be emotional, like admitting that you're in love with someone who might only like you as a friend, or it can be literal, like the vulnerability of a soccer goal being unprotected by any defensive players. And this state of being open to injury, Brené Brown calls vulnerability showing up and being seen, bearing your soul, basically the sacredness inside of you, and you are opening that up for someone to react to it. You know, I think of being vulnerable is the act of telling your story, telling and retelling and looking back and letting known to people where you've come from and where you've been. And that's what makes vulnerability is a scary thing. It's a very sacred part of you brought out into the open, and now it is in a state of being open to injury. And so it is really important, though you can be vulnerable, to be vulnerable in safe places. Are you going to bare your soul to someone who has a history of stabbing knives into people's back, figuratively? It is important to you and your emotional health to not do that. And it is easy to do that sometimes, but it is important to decide if this person is safe enough to receive your very vulnerable story. And if scripture from the Bible works for you, check out Matthew 7:6 that says, "Do not give dogs what is sacred. Do not throw your pearls to pigs. If you do, they may trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces." But when we find people who are safe, that can be one of the most life-transforming moments. Anne Lamott says the most powerful testimony is 2 words, me too. If you find someone that you can share your very vulnerable story with, and they can in turn identify and say, yeah, me too. Man, there is so much freedom in realizing and finding out that you are not alone. Safe people identify in your vulnerable moments. Safe people hear your story, and it takes them back to their story. And they see it as an opportunity to offer empathy through the simple words, me too. But it is so important to find who you can be vulnerable with. The American poet, memoirist, and civil rights activist Maya Angelou says there is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you. What are you carrying around that someone needs to hear? Someone needs the opportunity to say, oh, me too. I'm not alone. And you need the opportunity for your story to be heard, because it's agonizing carrying this around. And that way we heal one another by telling our stories. In episode 15, part 2, we saw this to be true as a very important part of actively rewiring our brains. When we open up to one another, we shoot enough energy up to the brain to create new connections. Remember that? If we want health in our lives, this takes some work. We need to put in the work to find the safe people to share with, and open yourself up to being shared with, and being a safe person and offering a me too. And here we are at the end of our podcast. And at the end of these 5 minutes, we choose to tell ourselves some positive narratives by sharing with ourselves who we want to be. We choose to find a reflection of ourselves in a mirror sometime today, and it will feel very vulnerable to look at yourself in the eye and say something positive, as opposed to maybe what we're so used to doing, which is saying something negative. Confront yourself with a positive narrative. And today's is this: I can risk vulnerability because my story deserves to be told. When we share our story with people who love us and are safe, we experience not being alone, as they do as well. But to do that starts with you.